Hello guys, today I want to show you one mistake when using request validated that I've been doing myself over the years. Even in one of the latest courses, I did it in live coding mode. The mistake when adding a new field and not updating the validation rules. What happens then? The field is not saved in the database, but it doesn't throw any errors. So you wouldn't even know where to debug that error and why is it not saved. Let me show you with example. For example, you have a transaction form with two fields, amount and currency. So if you add a transaction, you add those two fields, for example. And at some point, you want to add the third optional field of transaction description, for example. So what do you do then? Of course, you add a database migration first. Then in the model of transaction, you make that fillable. If you use fillables, then you add that to the blade of create blade. So something like this, input with description. This code is partly generated with our quick admin panel, so it may look complex, but actually it's just an input. And then you make it visible in the table of index blade, like this. So you have transaction description in the column of table. And if we save all of that and we migrate, refresh, we have the description column here. We add a transaction, something, and we choose the currency and we add a description, but it's not in the table. Is it in the database? If we refresh the database table, description is here, but it's null. Why? And this is where I get to the actual point of this video. If you use request validated, which comes from the form request with validation rules, you have currency ID required and you have amount required. Any field that comes from the form that is not listed in the rules will not be the part of request validated, which means our description isn't validated, so it's not in this array. But you would say it's an optional field, it doesn't have to be validated, it's nullable for a reason. Even if that's the case, you need to add that field in the rules with whatever validation rule you want. So if we add description, for example, string, or you may choose optional, for example, or you may choose some validation rule like maximum or minimum string. Let's leave it as string. And now if we do that, add transaction, something, currency, and some description, we save, and now we have the data in the table. So this was my point of this video. If you use request validated, you need to list all the possible fields here, even if they are optional. So that's it, a quick tip. If you want more quick tips, I have a full repository of the tips free on GitHub. More than 300 tips at this point. For example, 21 tips on validation alone, including form requests. So you can check that out. I will link that in the description below. That's it for now, and see you guys in other videos.